On today's show, we're going to talk about why most landscapers struggle with pricing, especially when they're starting out, and how you can fix that process. Because when we get our pricing right, everything gets easier. When our pricing is wrong, it impacts everything. So I'm really excited to dive into that today and share with you my personal experiences of how I learned, made some mistakes, and then figured out what worked. And I'm excited to share with you how you can shortcut and skip over a lot of those failures and mistakes I made so that you can have effective pricing that's going to help you grow your business. I'm Gabe Arnold, and this is the Green Mountain Podcast. We are the champions who brave the elements to create beauty. We see chaos and create order. We are never afraid of hard work, and we understand the power of strategic thinking and intentional actions. We come from all walks of life, and we will never allow our past to determine our future potential. We create beauty around the homes of our customers and increase the value of our community with the work that we do every day. We understand the power of consistent branding because it helps us grow and serve all those around us. We practice effective sales so our company, employees, and community can benefit from the value we add. We intentionally invest in operational habits that help us deliver excellent results to our customers on a continual basis. We understand that powerful and beautiful things take time to grow, and with consistent watering and intention, amazing results can happen. We are committed to making the world a better place by being positive examples to all those around us. We don't allow anyone to look down on us because we know the value we bring to our community as leaders. We create positive workplaces for our employees so they feel safe and supported, and at the same time, we hold ourselves to high standards. We pursue excellence on a daily basis because we know the journey is worth the sacrifice. We are the protectors of the land. We are the guardians of beauty. We are the heroes. We are landscapers. If you're like me, you probably started out with a cost plus approach in your pricing. And I'm grateful I've been able to work with a ton of landscapers over the years. I've in some great communities all around the web where I see people talking about pricing. And so I'm really grateful that I get to see what people are struggling with because there's a common thread through these. And we touched on this a little bit on Monday on the show. So you can go back to that episode if you want to listen to that one again, if you didn't catch it. But we're going to go a little bit deeper today because when you look at pricing, there's a few factors involved. One, we talked about earlier on the show, like I said, customers are typically pressuring you to lower your prices. And we're going to continue to talk about that in the show. And I'm going to give you some awesome strategies that will help you really be successful in how you approach customers and how you make an impact in a positive way when you're doing pricing. But those strategies are highly effective. We're going to teach those. But what I want to talk to you today is about actually kind of the nuts and bolts of how you think about pricing your projects. So a cost plus approach that I see so many people use is they will say, okay, well, my cost to do this job is I'm going to have, a couple $100 in mulch. I'm going to have to pay, one of my guys, let's say $20 an hour, whatever the rate is, maybe more, 20, 25. We'll say it's 25 and it's going to be for 4 hours. So now I have $300 in cost. I've got some gas. We'll say I'm going to charge, $30 in gas. So I have, $330 now. And if you just start adding up your expenses to figure out the job, and then you say, okay, let's just say it's a round number, it's a $500 in expenses. I see a lot of landscapers take that $500 and say, okay, how much can I add on to that? What can my cost plus a markup? And they'll say, okay, well, 20% feels reasonable. So maybe I'll add another $100. If you go that route, then you're going to be always working from the negative up and you're not strategically thinking about pricing. So one of the first things that we talk about and teach in our Green Mountain Mastermind, and we even have a lot of free resources around this on our site, landscapemarketinghero.com. The first thing we teach is you need to understand what your costs are before you even pull out of the yard, right? Before you leave the shop and you go to a job. Because if you understand those expenses, your overhead expenses, then it's a lot easier to say, when I pull onto a job, I've already spent X dollars to get here. Additionally, if you have a financial target for the year, which we show you how to set and take the incremental steps to hit, then you can know I want to do it's just it's easy number, $500,000 in revenue this year if you're just starting up and growing, and I want my profit to be $100,000. If you preset that profit target, then you can divide that back into the customers that you have, and you can make sure that you are presetting the profit. So when you show up to a job, you can start, your first line item should be, well, I need to profit, $500 on this job. And then you add in your expenses and you actually go for profit first, and then you estimate correctly from there. So the cost, your expenses or cost plus approach is generally ineffective and is completely unnecessary in this space, even though customers may tell you that, even though you may have some, some friends who own landscaping companies or have said, well, this is how it is. It's not actually how it is, because business principles and good financial foundations and principles apply across the board in landscaping and in other home services industries and in all industries. So if you're like me, you probably didn't, start out with a profit target and then work with that as a foundation. I struggled with that in the beginning. And once I learned this, I was able to create a really profitable company. The other thing, it's just a skill to learn. And there's a process that we go through and teach with this in our mastermind as well, is you probably didn't have, financial training or estimation training. I didn't have that in the beginning, so I had to learn it and go through the process. And we actually teach a simple process that will help you estimate as accurately as possible. But then on a weekly basis, you sit down and review your jobs, you review the results, and you see what you actually made. And in reviewing the data and reviewing the results, a couple of things come out of that. One, it becomes a healthy habit. And so I'll touch on that for a minute. A healthy habit, like you already have tons of healthy habits. I'm sure you fuel up your mowers before you head out. I'm sure you wash your trucks, you sharpen your blades, on your mowers. There's all these things that you naturally do that become positive, productive habits. And so we just want to add in another healthy financial habit, which is starting with knowing what your profit needs to be, what your overhead is, and what it costs you before you even pull out, of the shop to get to the job. And then also we want to create the financial habit of, say you quoted a job a month ago, started the job 2 weeks ago, finished it a couple days ago. Now you can look at what you estimated and you can actually assess and say, how many hours did it actually take me? How much materials did it take me? And if I now deduct those from my estimate that the customer accepted, how much am I left in profit? If you take just a few minutes on a weekly basis and review what you've done, then it allows you to feed your mind good data that says, man, I did well on that job. I did really well with that. It was profitable. It took a couple hours longer than we thought. But overall, it was good. So next time I'm going to remember that it took me a little bit longer, and I'm going to add some buffer in that. Or you review a job, which I've reviewed many of these jobs, and you go, man, we made $4 an hour. I mean, that's that bad. But sometimes it feels like that, or it's actually really bad hourly rate that you're making. Maybe not that bad, but it's not an acceptable, profitable hourly rate. And so if you take that time to review, you can go, man, we totally missed on that one. So here's the factors that are different. And I'm going to put that in my pricing and estimation log. It's a simple document that you can keep that will allow you to reflect on what worked, make notes and changes, and then improve and, perfect and just continue to make an excellent pricing and estimation process so that you can be effective in it. And those are two major things: knowing your profit target, knowing your expenses, and then practicing estimation, and then evaluating your estimating process and your performance. It's easy when you're growing and busy, and it's easy when you're super successful to forget that habit of reviewing your performance, because if you set things on autopilot and you're like, yeah, I know gas went up, or maybe materials went up a lot this year, or yeah, we got some new equipment. But if you don't routinely review those things and make that a financial health habit that you have, then it's pretty easy to let little things seep into your company that become expenses that you're not accounting for properly. The last thing with pricing, again, which we're going to go into more depth in the future on, but it's often the case that we unintentionally allow our customer to pressure on us on pricing. And say we gave a $5,000 quote. Like I mentioned earlier on Monday's show, is customers will come back to us and they'll want us to lower our price or discount. They'll say things like, can you sharpen your pencil on that? Or I was paying the other guy this for this type of project. And when that happens, that happened to me so many times. The wrong response, which I did wrong so many times and I want you to avoid, is, oh, okay, like how can we meet your budget? How can we work this out? And you just discount your profit and you keep cutting your hourly and you hurt yourself. The right response is to say, I completely understand that you have a budget. That's no issue. Of everything we have planned here, which items do you want to remove that aren't a priority? Because if this isn't a budget, I completely understand. We'll just take out some things that you don't need. And then you just pause and wait and you let the customer think about and prioritize. If it's really a budget issue, then they're going to say, yeah, you know what, I don't really need the patio to be, 1,000 square feet or some massive thing. Let's make it this size. Or I don't need those couple shrubs. Let's cut it down. Or if they're simply just in the habit of thinking that they can beat you down on price, then they'll go, no, it's fine. I get it. Let's just go with it. So that's a way that you can properly, responsively, and positively respond to your customer, maintain a positive relationship, but really just present the reality of, what needs to happen if they want to reduce their budget. So those are a couple of things to keep in mind. Pricing is something that we all struggle with in the beginning, I think, but there is a simple process and approach that you can use to be successful. Like I mentioned, it's something that we teach in the Green Mountain Mastermind. So we'd love to have you there. We also have some great free resources on our site at landscapemarketinghero.com. So you can check that out. Appreciate you taking time to tune in today, and I will see you on tomorrow's show. If you're ready to begin your journey up the Green Mountain, where we show you how to build a low-stress, high-profit, $10 million per year landscaping company, then head over to landscapemarketinghero.com to download your free growth map. One of our guides will be there to help you along the way. Again, that's landscapemarketinghero.com.